As you can tell by the title, we're going to be going through and ranking all the movies in the MCU universe. So let's get right into it, starting off with Iron Man. I believe Iron Man was a good introduction, but like I feel like it was a more of an okay film. I get a lot of people like it a lot because it's what started this whole thing. I think it was okay. Um, Hulk, okay. Uh, Iron Man 2, I actually think this is a pretty good movie. Thor, think it's a good movie. Uh, Captain America, The First Avenger. I think I'm going to have to put this one as a great movie. I really do think it's pretty good. The first Avengers movie, I think that's definitely an A tier for me. Um, Iron Man 3, I think is a good movie. Thor Dark World, I don't like it. I think it's horrible. Winter Soldier, I think this is one of those that I guess is a great movie. Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh, I think that is it's a tough spot. It's either a great movie or an A tier movie. I'll set it. I'll set it an A tier for now. I might come back and change that. Um, Avengers: Age of Ultron. I think that's a really good movie as well. Ant Man. I think that's a good movie. Civil War. I think honestly, I think it's a great movie. I don't think it's quite a tier. I do think it gets a lot of points because it introduced Spider-Man into the MCU. But I don't know. I felt like it could have been much better. But I also am a fan of the comic books, so obviously they didn't have as many characters in it at this point. So I mean, I they're missing like the X Men, the Fantastic Four, a bunch of other teams that were very important to the Civil War in the comics. So I mean, it's not completely, I guess, the film's fault, but I don't know. I think it's a great film, but I don't necessarily think it's an A tier. Doctor Strange, I believe this is a. I see it's either a good or an okay, and I'll put it as good. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is another one of those I believe is a good tier movie. Now, Homecoming, Spider Man Homecoming, I think is a fantastic movie. Um, now, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to give it the A tier. Thor Ragnarok A tier. So now I thought about it a little bit. I think I'm gonna actually bump that Guardians of the Galaxy down. Only because you can't have all these A's. I just think that's a bit much because this has got to go up there. Infinity War, I think it's fantastic. Black Panther, I think is a great movie. I don't think it's perfect, but it is a very good movie. Ant Man and the Wasp, I couldn't get into it. I think it's an okay movie. Uh, Captain Marvel, I mean, it answered a lot of questions, but I don't really think it's that good of a movie. I'm going to say okay. Um, After some time, I'm going to move the Hulk down to a bad. I definitely think the Hulk's a bad movie. I'm sure a lot of people do, which is why they kind of like don't even really talk about it being part of the MCU because it's not that great of a movie. Endgame, fantastic. So let's see. Far From Home, fantastic movie as well. Um, so yeah, about even in every tier except for obviously the lower ones. Uh, so I mean, again, Thor: Dark World, the Hulk, those ones are just I feel like very boring. They don't really do anything for me. You can watch them once, get what you need to, and be done with it. Now the okay Iron Man, Ant Man and the Wasp, and Captain Marvel. I mean, they did a lot of things for the universe that kind of helped move things forward and helped us kind of anticipate what we could expect from further film or future films. But I don't necessarily think that you need to watch them more than once to like grasp what they were trying to tell you. Now, I do think that this next tier, they can go up and down depending on your day. But I feel like these ones you can watch a couple times and get something from it by watching it again. I think that Iron Man 2 is a really good movie. Mickey Rourke played a very good villain. I wish that they would have maybe had him in another film. I don't know. Maybe we can have a group of bad guys come together and band together and try to fight. Because I mean, I don't think we haven't actually seen that yet of a group of bad guys coming together and teaming up to fight us. I mean, the heroes. So I think that because I mean, obviously, in the Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame, they're fighting more of Thanos and his group of soldiers. So I mean, it's not necessarily a big team up of villains. I think it would be really cool to see a big team up of villains against our heroes, but I don't know if they're waiting for additional villains to come into play. I mean, obviously with Spider-Man in the mix, I think it would be great to have a Spider-Man versus like a Sinister Six movie, or I mean, just simply a bunch of villains from the MCU that we've previously seen team up with other villains and try to come and take over the world or whatever it is that they would like to do. I think more villain team up stuff would be very good for the MCU. So, I mean, there's a lot of characters in the good tier that we could see later down the road that they kind of left a lot of unanswered questions about. So that's why I really feel that they're good movies, because I feel like we could see some of these villains again down the road. The great tier movies, obviously, Captain America, First Avenger, Captain America, Winter Soldier, Age of Ultron, Civil War, Guardians of the Galaxy, Black Panther. Now, I believe Guardians of the Galaxy and Civil War can go up and down between A tier and great. Just right now, I'm feeling Guardians of the Galaxy is a great film. I really enjoy watching it. I can watch it a million times. I just feel like at the point when it came out, and still honestly today, it doesn't really do much for moving the story forward besides explaining, like, I guess, I mean, it does actually explain a lot due to the fact that it, introduces us to where some of the other Infinity Stones may be at, and Gamora and her relationship to Thanos and Nebula, and obviously the big villain that at the end of this section of the MCU, or this phase and the phase to come. So, I mean, they're good movies. But again, the A tier, I feel, are movies that you could watch 1,000 times and still not get tired of. The first Avengers movie, that was, to me, I mean, really, really good. The Homecoming, again, fantastic movie. I like seeing Spider-Man when he's in school, when he's young. I obviously hope that they further down the road will integrate the older version of Spider-Man, because there's a much different path that we can take, and maybe more of an introduction of like Miles Morales and stuff. Because I mean, the way I look at it is that Spider-Man is kind of like the Batman of the MCU, where Batman has a lot of the good villains and a lot of the cool villains and a lot of villains that, like, that really connect with people and people really enjoy. And I feel that's how Spider-Man is. He has a lot of villains that could be very important to the MCU in creating several different storylines. Like Spider-Man versus the Sinister Six, or like Spider-Man and others combined to face the Sinister Six would be great as well. But obviously Spider-Man is like the core character of like the Marvel universe in general. I just feel like he is a top tier character. I'm not even that big of a Spider-Man fan, but I'm a very big Venom fan. Uh, and I definitely feel that Spider-Man being a part of the MCU over the last couple of years has helped it out tremendously because of all the different villains that we can now get in the MCU. Now, Thor Ragnarok, I think, is a great movie as well, due to the fact, like, with Thor and the Hulk working together, and the amount of comedy in it, I actually thought was, different and very good. None of the other movies were as comedic. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy has a lot of comedy moments in it, but I definitely feel Thor Ragnarok, with the way that they took the film, was very good, and I feel that they did a very good job with it. Now, Infinity War and Endgame, I mean, it's one of the most crazy things that happened in Marvel Comics. Obviously, this is a different interpretation because they also don't have like the mutants involved with this, or the Fantastic Four and stuff like that, but I think they did good with what they had. Now I feel like they did a much better job with that, like with what they had, than they did with Civil War, which is why I don't necessarily have Civil War as high as I do have Infinity War and Endgame. I feel those two movies are perfect. They leave a lot of unanswered questions, but they also answer a lot of them and leave us wanting more, which is great. Now, the Spider-Man Far From Home, I think that opened up a bunch of doors for the MCU. And like I said previously a couple times now, Spider-Man is slowly going to become, as I feel, the Iron Man of the MCU. Where since Iron Man is gone, Captain America is gone, I feel that Spider-Man is now going to have to step up and be a much bigger role than he has previously, due to, I mean, his relationship with Tony Stark in the MCU. He was kind of like the Robin to Iron Man. Uh, Obviously, I'm using a DC reference there, but he was essentially just Iron Man's sidekick. Now that Iron Man is out of the picture, Captain America is out of the picture, I could definitely see, I mean, Spider-Man rising, and I can definitely see also Doctor Strange becoming a major part of the MCU as we further go down the road. Now, if you guys have any, disputes that you would like to discuss down in the comments, let me know as well. And you all have a great day. See ya.